Do we have enemies from within Arizona's Republican Party? Hello everybody, my name is Claire Van Steenwyk, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the enemies we have within the Republican Party. I prefer to call them domestic enemies, because within our Constitution, part of the oath to that Constitution is we pledge to support, protect, and defend the United States Constitution. So I want to talk to you about people that are elected office holders that have taken that oath a number of times and have violated it. And I'm going to give you a really good example of this, and I'm going to read something that I want you all to pay close attention to, because it's in the news now, especially with Ginsburg passing away and our election of President Trump versus bumbling Biden, and how the Democrats want to use this election to totally take over the country. And it's been talked about in the news over and over again, and I've talked about this for years. One of the reasons they want to take over the House and the Senate is so they can remove the electoral system that we now have, where so many people from each state, you get your senators, your congressmen, that's who votes for the president. If you win that state and you get enough votes, I think all of you understand that now, you win. They want to stop that. They want to remove that.
You're going to have to get rid of the Electoral College, because the people...
I don't see it.
Because the minority in this country decides who the judges are, and they decide who the president is.
We can have national voting, and that means get rid of the Electoral College.
If you want to set up a single nationwide count so we could have the Palm Beach story nationwide, and you could have the maximum incentive for Democrats to steal the election and the maximum incentive for Democrats to have illegal immigrants voting, it's a terrific idea, and I think anybody who believes in having a totally corrupt nationwide system ought to be in favor of it.
If they ever remove that, we'll have an East-West Coast presidency, and the rest of us won't matter, as you can find out just by watching what they're talking about now during this election cycle. You can see where they're talking about. We need California, we need Oregon, we need Washington, we need New York, we need Connecticut, we need Delaware. That's all they're concerned with, is the real populations, because if they get the populations and then get enough nitwits in between, they win. So they want the popular vote. We as Republicans don't want the popular vote. In fact, the platform of the Republican Party is opposed to the national popular vote. So from my premise, and since the Constitution guarantees us a republic form of government, if you ever had the popular vote, you would no longer have a Republican form of government. You would then go to a strict democracy, which none of us want. But I want to read something to you. Back in 2016, you had a bill. It was HB 2456, the National Popular Vote Interstate Agreement. It was they were voting on us agreeing with other states that we would do away with the electoral system and have a national popular vote. This was presented in Arizona by a lobbyist. He's also a campaign manager for a lot of the people I'm going to be mentioning here. Now, these people are in the House of Representatives, and they actually passed this bill. I think it was 23 or 24 sponsored it, but 20 voted for it. And some of these names you're going to recognize very easily. Then Representative Boyer in LD 20 voted yes. Then Representative Gray in LD 21 voted yes. Representative Kern in LD 20 voted yes. Then you had Jay Lawrence, who was voted out this last time in LD 23. He sponsored the bill, but then he voted no. Then you had David Livingston in LD 22, then a representative who sponsored it, promoted it, and voted yes on it. Then you had Mesnard, the House leader. This is the leadership of the House, a Republican, and he voted yes. Then Montenegro, who's no longer in office, voted yes in LD 13. And Rivera sponsored it, but had a no vote. Not voting, not no, he didn't vote. You also had Kelly Townsend, who was a sponsor, and then didn't vote. And you had other Republicans vote for this bill. They passed the bill out of the House in Arizona in 2016. What saved us was it never came to a vote in the Senate. However, you had people in the Senate who were ready, they were prime sponsors. Shooter was a prime sponsor. Barta was a prime sponsor, and so was Dial. Co-sponsors, Sylvia Allen, who thankfully this last primary was defeated. Judy Burgess, who retired from LD 22, but moved south or north, and now she's won the primary to be a representative. And Kimberly Yee. All of these people were senators, and they all supported it, and I believe would have voted for it had it come up for a vote. And Yee is now your state treasurer. So she was rewarded with this. Now, if you really understand what's going on here, these are just a few of the 20. But every one of these people knew it was wrong, and they did it anyway. Now, these are people that call themselves Republicans. They even call themselves conservative Republicans. But they voted for a bill that violated their oath, violated the U.S. Constitution, and violated the platform of the Republican Party. I made a comment a few weeks back at a meeting I was at. I said to the voters there, it was a West Wing Republican group over in Peoria, how many of you believe if somebody came in here and said, I'm a liberal Republican, you'd support them? Not one person raised their hand saying they would. And I said, that's why everybody that comes in this room tells you they're a conservative. But there's two ways to use that word. I'm a conservative, I'm just a conservative. Or I'm a con-servative. In other words, they're a con artist. That's what these people are. If you vote for bills like that, and Red for Ed, and red flag laws, and then promote something like all of our DNA should be taken so that they know who we are when we do things during this trial we're having right now, that's not a conservative. It's definitely not someone that supports the U.S. Constitution. These people are all active people within the Republican Party. They're still in office. Some of those people I mentioned to you were then representatives in their LDs and are now state senators in Arizona. So they not only won an election, they promoted them up to a higher office, that of a state senator over a state legislator. This is what goes on in Arizona's Republican Party. It's time it stops, but it's time the PCs take seriously their responsibility as well. Precinct committeemen have a duty and an obligation. They take an oath of office as well. And when these kind of things happen, they need to no longer support these people, find other people to run against them, support and vote for them and get votes for them, and get these kind of people out of office. Because these kind of people, long run, end up in higher offices, like Senator Yee. She went from being a senator to now being Secretary of Treasury. I believe in a few years she's going to run for governor, because I think she wants the job and believes she deserves it. This is ladder climbing politically in the Republican Party. The Democrats do it too. I'm not concerned with Democrats. I don't happen to be one. My father always taught me, you clean your own house first before you go clean somebody else's. We need to clean the Republican Party in Arizona, and we need to do it now. This kind of information, I believe, is helpful to all of you. Once again, unfortunately, it's maybe a little late for this year, but it's not too late for 2022's primary. So I beseech all of you, start paying attention to how these people vote and their past records, because trust me, if they violated their oath before, they'll violate it again. And there's times they violate it and most of us don't even know they do it unless you're able to watch every move they make. These people have proven they cannot be trusted. So please don't continue to trust them. And PCs, do your jobs and eliminate them. Start finding good candidates who will abide by their oath and always vote with the Constitution. Always. God bless you and thank you very much for your time.